Today in Algebra 1, we started talking about two-step equations. These equations are those that require more than one operation to get the variable by itself. In class, we talked about and reviewed some things like, remember, our goal for equation solving is to isolate the variable. And our golden rule, remember, was what we do to one side of the equation we do to the other. And we talked about how we need to use our inverses to be able to solve equations. So one of the things that we want to talk about is inverses means to undo. We talked about that last week. Think about when you get dressed in the morning. You put on your underwear, and then you put on your clothes, and then you put on your shoes, and then you go wherever you're going to go. When you get home at the end of the day and you're ready to get in the shower or whatever, you take off your shoes, you take off your clothes, you take off your undergarments. There's an order and then a reverse order. That's what inverses are. In the case of two-step equations or any equations involving more than one step, we're undoing what's been done to a variable. So we're doing the opposite of PEMDAS. In this case, that means we're going to add and subtract before we multiply and divide. We looked at several examples in class. Number 1, 10 equals 6 minus 2x. We drew our line down the middle. We looked at our variable x. It's being multiplied by negative 2 and added by 6. Now I say added because the 6 is positive. That confused some people in class. I just want you to remember, if it's positive, the opposite is to subtract or use a negative. So we're going to subtract 6 from both sides. On the first side, I have 10 minus 6 is 4. 6 minus 6 is 0, or those two cancel, and I have negative 2x. Now, I'm looking at x. To get x by itself, it's being multiplied by a negative 2. The opposite of multiply is divide, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. I can cancel these, and 4 divided negative 2 is negative 2 equals x. I cross that, and that's my answer. Let's look at another example. Example 2. Q divide 15 minus 1/5 equals 3/5. What's happening to Q? It's being divided by 15 and subtracted by 1/5. I'm going to undo my add and subtract first. So I'm going to start by adding 1/5 to both sides, because what I do to one side I do to the other. On this side they cancel, and I have Q divide 15 equals 3/5 plus 1/5 is 4/5. Now, Q is being divided by 15. The opposite of divide by 15 is multiply by 15. Or multiply by 15 over 1. Right, so that those cancel. On the first side, I've got Q. On the second, I can reduce. 5 goes into 5 one time, and 5 goes into 15 3 times. 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 1 is 1. 12 over 1 is 12. So Q equals 12. And that's the end of that problem. Example number 3. And I know you might be getting the hang of it now. It really helps to go through several examples to make sure you understand. 1.5 equals 1.2y minus 5.7. What is happening to y? It's being multiplied by 1.2 and subtracted by 5.7. The opposite of subtract is add. So I'm going to add 5.7 to both sides. Those cancel. I've got 1.2y on this side. On the other side, I've got 1.5 plus 5.7, which is 7.2. And now, to get rid of y, or to get y by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 1.2, because divide is the opposite of multiply. 7.2 divided by 1.2 is 6. So y equals 6. Example number 4. N divided by 7 plus 2 equals 2. In this case, n is being divided and added. I'm going to start by getting rid of my adding. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. I say both sides of the equals. This time I didn't draw my line. I want you to start getting the idea that we're just talking about both sides of the equal sign. Those cancel, and I have n divide 7. On the other side, I have 2 minus 2, which also cancels or is 0. Now, to get n by itself, it's being divided. The opposite of divide is multiply. So I multiply both sides by 7. And I have n equals 0 times 7 is 0. Let's box that answer. Don't forget you can always double check to make sure you're getting the right answer by plugging back in. So 0 divides 7 is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. That checks out and it's the right answer. I'm going to end on one of our word problems. And we did this one. We did 2 of these in class, but I'm just going to do one. 7 less than twice a number is 19. Okay, we talked about in class that a number represents a variable. So let's use x. Now let's go through the equation and put our pieces in. 7 less than. Remember the phrase less than means it comes after. So 7 less than twice a number, 7 less than whatever this is going to be. So I take it off the end. Twice a number means 2 times that number x. So 7 less than twice a number is means equals 19. Now let's go ahead and solve that. It's being subtracted by 7 and multiplied by 2. X is both of those things. So the inverses would be to add 7 to both sides. 2x equals 26. And divide both sides by 2. X equals 13. This is assignment number 5, the 5th assignment you've been given. And it comes from page 96. And you're going to do numbers 1 to 7 and 24 to 26. Good luck, and let me know if you have questions.